So, Kenny, I was looking at the IMDb for Prey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Predator 5.
Yep.
A movie coming out very soon that is, I think, going to be the next thing we cover on the show after this. It comes out August 5th.
That's the plan, yeah.
Which is this Friday as of this recording. And we're going to try to get that episode turned around as soon as possible. Try to be like number one on the scene in terms of Predator 5 coverage. I was looking at the director's IMDb, Dan Trachtenberg. The name was familiar, right? I know he did 10 Cloverfield Lane, but I haven't seen that.
It's good. It's very good.
It's on my list. I really need to see it. I've wanted to see it since the teaser came out, and there's no good reason why I haven't, except that I just kind of keep watching like The Wire over and over again instead.
You gotta watch something, I suppose.
Yeah, and not just The Wire, like also obviously Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, topical. But I did recognize the name from The Boys, right? He's a producer and he directed the first episode of The Boys.
All right.
So I recognize the name from that, but his newest credit after Prey is one episode of a TV series that has been announced but hasn't come out yet called Waterworld. Are they
okay?
Are they making a TV series based on the movie Waterworld?
I guess. I mean, this is the first time I've heard of it, so I have to assume.
Waterworld TV series in the works, according to Deadline.com. Unbelievable. A follow-up to Universal's 1995 movie Waterworld is in the works for the small screen. Are you kidding me? The series would pick up with the film's characters 20 years later. So this isn't like a reboot. This is a sequel television show to the Kevin Costner movie.
Sure, man. Why not?
God, wild. I guess Universal can rebrand that stunt show I always hear about when the TV series comes out, right?
That's right.
Like, keep it fresh, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I love Waterworld. Have you seen Waterworld?
I have not, no.
Okay.
It's one of those movies that I had the chance to watch when I was younger,
Sure.
but like I heard that it gotten really bad reviews and a lot of people didn't like it. So I was like, you know what? Never mind, and never got around to watching it.
Right. It was another one of those movies that played on like Stars and Encore, like the quote unquote bad movie channels a lot when I was a kid, aka the ones that came by default with DirecTV, not the ones you had to pay extra for. So
Right.
I watched a lot of Waterworld as a kid and loved that movie. Didn't know it was like an epic failure that everybody hated until growing up and finding that out years later, once I think the internet was around. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I get the urge to watch it almost constantly, and I think I'm going to have to revisit it again after finding out that they are developing a fucking Waterworld sequel television show set 20 years later. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's pretty wild, not gonna lie.
From Dan Trachtenberg, the guy who's worked on The Boys, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and the upcoming Prey.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking it'll be good, right? Like,
I hope so.
like
I mean, they're making it anyway, so
sure.
rather it be good than it be bad, you know?
Fingers crossed for the upcoming Waterworld TV show.
I hear that.
Speaking of Prey, welcome to Crew Expendable. I am poster child for anemia, Neal.
That's a good one. That's a really good. And I am baker of fine cakes, Kenny.
And we are just a couple of witchcraft users stabbing our way through the voodoo doll of the Alien franchise.
Hey, works for me. I knew you didn't already have one planned, and I was wondering what you were just gonna pull out there.
Yeah,
Good one.
If you don't think too hard about it, it works. Alien. We talk about the Alien franchise on this show with the occasional Predator comic book or movie or whatever sprinkled in where applicable. Like right now, where we are talking issue 2 of Archie versus Predator. We're kind of in a in-between zone. We've sort of moved past Alien Covenant. It's time to start jumping into the real meat and potatoes of the Alien franchise. But we've got this Prey movie coming out that we really want to tackle right away. So we're doing a little bit of a Predator interstitial couple of episodes here before we jump into the Alien stuff, or back into the Alien stuff.
Yeah, it's Predator week, folks.
It is Predator week-ish.
Yeah.
Because the goal is to get this episode out on our normal day and then get the Prey episode out as quickly as we can after recording it. which will mean an early drop that might still technically make it be this week, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll find out.
But for now, we are talking Archie versus Predator issue 2. This is the second of 3 podcasts I will have recorded today.
Nice.
I'm already a little worn out. So, Kenny, I think we should just jump right into it.
Yeah, let's get into it, baby.
Archie vs. Predator issue 2, written by Alex DeCampi, penciled by Fernando Ruiz, inks by Rich Kozlowski, colors by Jason Millett, letters by John Workman, with a main cover by Dan Parent, who is my personal favorite modern Archie artist.
Cool.
We've also got variant covers by Dustin Nguyen and Robert Hack with Stephen Downer. Robert Hack did the art for Archie for Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and I think he did he did that Hellboy meets Sabrina thing that we talked about last time we did an Archie versus Predator issue, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Do you want to give people a little rundown of what happened in issue 1 in case they've skipped it for some reason?
Yeah, despite us explicitly saying in the episode that everyone should go out and read it because it rules.
Yeah. Like, you know how like sometimes when you actually go to the comic book store, they don't have like issue 1 of a miniseries. And you're
That's
like,
true.
You're like, I'll just grab issue 2 while I see it, I'll see what's up. And then you're like, oh damn, I should go back and find out issue 1. But let's just give people a little recap, run them through what happened in issue 1 very briefly.
Yeah, well, real brief. The gang, which is what I believe we determined it was 13 people total.
Something like that, yeah.
The gang wins a free trip to what we later find out is, I believe, the Caribbean.
Yes.
Caribbean. I can never remember how to pronounce it.
Either was fine.
And while they're there, Betty finds a weird-looking, maybe possibly magical dagger, and she waves it around and puts some curses on people. And while that is happening, the rest of the gang, and also her, I suppose, are being stalked by a predator who landed in a scout ship earlier on in the issue. And the predator eventually ends up killing Cheryl and her brother Jason. Is that his name?
Yep, Jason and Cheryl Blossom get skinned.
Yeah, they get fucking murked by this predator. And then after that, they decide to go back home. But when they're back in Riverdale, we find out that the predator has followed them back to Riverdale.
Yeah, a couple minor things. Betty accidentally brought the dagger back with her. And the gang doesn't know that Cheryl and Jason have been murdered when they leave. But they'll find out in about 2.5 seconds.
Correct.
Because issue 2 picks up right where issue 1 left off, with the whole gang at Pop's chocolate shop just hanging out, right? Betty is worried that this expensive dress she had borrowed from Cheryl that got ruined in the first issue, it's too expensive for her to replace if Cheryl wants it back. Meanwhile, Veronica is like just holding a table knife, right?
Yep.
And she's getting targeted. We see the predator target reticule like on her. And through predator vision, he's like zoomed in on her holding the knife and like viewing her as a threat. And I can't tell if he actually fires or not, because when Dilton interrupts, it looks like he takes a shot and misses.
Yeah, I think it's like he has the shot aimed in at like a specific trajectory, but then when Dilton comes in and opens the door, it like the shot that would have gone clean ends up like ricocheting or bouncing off something or something like that.
Sure. But nobody notices that because Dilton busts in and he's like, guys, they found Cheryl and Jason Blossom's bodies dead in that jungle where we all were. They think some kind of jungle animal got to them and just ripped them apart. And everyone's like, oh, fuck, that's terrible. And Betty's feeling like a little weirdly guilty, right? But then everyone just forgets about it immediately because Pops brings over a cake that he baked to celebrate all the kids coming home.
Well, I should say, just let me interject real quick, that specifically the reason why that's what interrupts them is he was bringing the cake out as like a celebration for them being back. Sure. And then while he's bringing the cake out, he like hears that Cheryl and Jason is dead. And he goes like, oh no, maybe we shouldn't be celebrating. And he's like about to cart the cake away. And Jughead is like, absolutely the hell not. I have a doctor's note that says baked goods are part of my health regimen. I am medically required to eat this cake. Bring it out and
Fucking
serve it right
Jughead.
now, my dude.
This is an important detail, actually. So he's like, all right, cool. I will serve this cake. And Pops pulls out a big knife to start cutting slices. And then his head explodes.
Yeah, his head just fucking explodes, just kablam.
Predator shot, clearly from a shoulder cannon, comes into the chocolate shop, blows Pop's head just away, splatters, coats everyone in blood and viscera.
Yeah, he just gets fucking
damn
annihilated. It
This
rules.
is like page 3 or something.
No, it's the first panel of page 2.
Holy
remember
shit.
how in the first episode I was talking about like how the first page is them at school,
Right.
and then when you turn to page 2, the beginning of page 2, there's just a hard smash cut to
Right.
them already on the island.
Yeah.
This is how this one works. It's the page of that, and then he pulls out the knife in the final panel, and then smash cut to turning to the second page, and the first panel is his head just blowing up.
Head is everywhere. So everyone scrambles
gone,
into the back of the chocolate shop, into the kitchen area, I guess, in the back supply room, whatever. Kevin Keller's kind of leading the charge. For this being an Archie book, Archie's doing fuck all in this, right? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
This is
he's kind
primarily
of just a useless hanger-on. Yeah.
This is primarily a Betty and Veronica comic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, at least in this issue. But Kevin leads everyone back there, and Betty's like freaking out, like, holy shit, this is my fault, whatever. She kind of pulls Veronica aside and like declares to the whole group, we're going to go to the bathroom, pulls Veronica out of the chocolate shop. And she's like, okay, we're not really going to the bathroom. We're going to go see Sabrina because I think we need her help to get this to stop.
Yep.
She's seen Sabrina's name in all of the voodoo books in the library. Going to repeat that. The voodoo books in the Riverdale library.
Correct.
There is an occult section in this small town library that Betty frequents.
And Betty has read all of those books on top of that.
And these books mention a resident in Greendale, very nearby Riverdale, named Sabrina, that all of the kids know. Veronica's like, what do you know about voodoo? And we get this cutaway to Betty stabbing a Veronica voodoo doll.
This gag was phenomenal. Like when we find out how she knows about voodoo, there's like a flashback panel where she's like stabbing a doll of Veronica with a pair of scissors.
Yeah.
But then in that panel, Betty walks in from the side, like in front of it, dragging like a big stage curtain over it to try to cover it up.
Yeah.
It rules. Also, there is something you forgot to mention earlier.
Sure.
While everyone was running into the back of the chocolate shop before the girls left, you forgot to mention that Jughead scoops up and brings the cake with him.
Yes.
And the reason that's important is because he's about to dig into it.
Oh, yeah.
But then discovers that there's some gore and an exploded eyeball on top of the cake. And he's like, oh no.
Yeah, it sort of comes back right now because the cops and everybody show up. So like Betty's like, see, look, everyone's fine. We're all safe now. The cops are here. Let's go. Let's get in your car and go see Sabrina. We cut to the police and the paramedics bringing everybody out of the chocolate shop. Archie's like, Betty and Veronica are still in the bathroom. I have to go find them. Reggie's like, nah, let the police look for them. Kevin Keller's like, yeah, listen to Reggie. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's the voice of reason right now. And Jughead says it's the end times as he takes a bite of the cake he is holding that still has Pop's blood and eyeball on it. He's just eating off the other side of the cake.
It rules so much. Also, another thing I loved about that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, first off, actually, there is one thing we forgot to mention.
Sure.
After Betty admits that she knows how to do voodoo, the two of them are about to get into an argument because Betty admits that she thinks this is happening because she put that jaguar curse on her in the previous issue.
Right.
And like they're about to start an argument, and then that's when the cops pull up.
Yes.
But also, I don't know if you noticed or not, but while they were arguing, the panel before the cops pulled up, we saw in the background the Predator was running up to them with his gun drawn.
You see the cloaked Predator running up to them as Betty is saying, I put a jaguar curse on you. And then when the cop sirens show up, the thing just sort of fucks off, I guess.
I also find it very funny that Betty and Veronica didn't actually, tell anyone that they were leaving before they just decided to leave.
Yeah, to like literally skip town and go see Sabrina. But I understand the urgency, and I understand Betty not wanting to spread it around and have people like, no, that's crazy, don't do it, whatever, right? So anyway, we cut to Greendale. They're at Sabrina's house. It's old and creepy, and Veronica doesn't like it.
And they're still covered in blood.
They're still covered in blood. And Veronica's like, look, Betty, here's a list of your superstitions that you just need to like get over. Tarot, horoscopes, voodoo, your lucky hair scrunchie, any kind of magic, etc. She gets cut off when the door opens, and we see a very unique Sabrina. This is a Sabrina unlike a Sabrina we've seen in anything else. This is like for real goth Sabrina,
And I can tell you right now, man, like the Sabrina in this comic is exactly my type and precisely the exact kind of girl I would have gone after and been all about in high school.
Oh, boy. I am into this presentation of Sabrina. Being familiar with pretty much all versions, I like this. I like this version. She is like no nonsense. She's gloomy, right? I'd say gloomy.
Mm-hmm. I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, and she just sort of invites them right in, and she's sort of like, show me the dagger. Salem is there, but Salem's not like talking. He's just being a cat.
Yep.
But Sabrina's just like, show me the jaguar knife, Betty Cooper.
And then she pulls it out, and Sabrina like immediately recognizes the dagger and then turns right around and pulls this massive gigantic book off of a shelf where like the book is like the size of her torso and then like drops it down on a table or whatever.
Yeah, I just want to talk about her room a little bit. She's got a canopy bed. She's still got stuffed animals on her canopy bed, but then she's got like axes and swords and stuff hanging on her walls and a big giant bookshelf with these giant books on it. A round window, kind of like what you see in The Crow, right? Like a big round The Crow window. And she recognizes the jaguar dagger immediately, and she says, so the easiest way to break this curse is to use the knife to kill as many people as you cursed with it. But failing that, I have something else that might work. She says the ritual she's going to try is really for dealing with zombies, but whoever sees zombies in real life, which is a nice cheeky reference to Afterlife with Archie, which was being published at this exact same time.
That's right. Yeah, she decided she's just going to do, like, she has a curse that's for, like, some zombie shit, which, hey, cool, whatever, let's do it.
Also, a curse we saw her do in Afterlife with Archie. We saw her do a zombie curse to bring Hot Dog back to life. So she gets to the book. She gets a mask, like an animal head mask with like long horns. The kind of thing you saw in like that, like season 1 and I guess season 2 of True Detective. Really?
Yeah, it looks kind of like a goat skull, but it's like crafted a bit differently to actually like be worn over the face rather than just sit on the head. And then it has like these big like long curving horns. It actually looks really fucking cool, not gonna lie.
It is. And so she's on this podium with her back to this big round window, dagger in hand, goat mask on, and she begins this ritual when the Predator, cloaked, busts through the window and stabs her with its claws.
Just runs her right through the torso from behind. She cries out or screams or whatever, and then drops the dagger, and the dagger hits the floor and shatters into pieces.
Yeah, it shatters. The Predator then removes Sabrina's head and spine, as only a Predator do.
And we actually, Like, unlike with Cheryl and Jason, we actually see him do that on the panel. Like, he grabs it and pulls it right the hell out of her body.
And a huge spurt of blood hit Veronica right in the face. They beg, please don't kill us, please. Veronica says her dad has lots of money. Salem the cat jumps at the Predator, attacking it. The Predator just wipes him out with a shoulder cannon blast, splattering the bed with Salem parts, and then he's gone.
And then the Predator just disappears. He's just gone. And like, I'll admit though, like, even in my notes, I even notated that it's like, first off, Veronica offers to pay him whatever he wants to have him leave them alone, which
Yes.
I thought was funny. But then, as I even wrote in my notes, in an extremely distressing turn of events, Salem attacks the Predator, to which I out loud said, "Oh, comic, come on, don't do this."
And the comic did it. Comic killed the cat.
Salem gets fucking blown to pieces, dog. He's like, and then
Yes.
he just like you actually see a panel where like his skin is getting blown off of his body,
peeling
and
off
like
of his
his
body.
bones are getting knocked apart. Yeah,
It's pretty rough. And let's be clear, Salem is not a cat. It's a human trapped in the body of a cat. So like, this isn't technically like animal murder. I don't really know.
Yeah.
It's still rough to see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Still uncomfortable.
It was probably my least favorite part of the issue, not because I didn't like it necessarily. I was just like, come on, man.
Yeah, you hate to see it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So Veronica is now covered even more in blood. Betty's in tears, but she thinks she might have captured a photo or some video of it on her phone. So while she's checking that out, Veronica just sort of snaps back and is like, okay, well, I'm going to go through some of Sabrina's clothes and change, because it's not like she's going to need these outfits anymore, especially the turtlenecks.
And then she just starts going through her
Unreal.
closet and dismissing everything she comes across as weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
So she finds like a nice white dress and she thinks it's really pretty, like a Victorian style dress or something. And she changes into that. Meanwhile, Betty has found on her phone a photo of the Predator. It took her a long time to go through that. Like, maybe she just had the video running and she had to like track to like the specific spot, right?
Yeah, it specifically took her long enough to find that we get several panels of Veronica just undressing and then putting a new set of clothes on. It gets weirdly horny for like 7 panels there right in the middle of the issue.
It does. And I'm just going to say, I think that this is Fernando Ruiz, his addition to the book. He's got a little bit of a horny streak if you read some of his other stuff.
So what you're saying is you don't think that was specifically part of the script?
I would say probably not to this degree.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But if I talked last time we covered one of these about Die Kitty Die. That's got a lot of horniness in it.
I got you.
He's done some stuff for like Eerie Cuties and Space Captain Miyuki. Those get pretty horny in the same sort of art style. It's just it's a Fernando Ruiz thing. I'm just gonna say it.
I got you.
Yeah.
But yeah, while she's getting changed, like you said, Betty finds a picture of the Predator's. Well, I was gonna say his face, but really he still has his like helmet mask on.
Right.
And Veronica sees the picture and gets very upset and declared that they're being hunted by ninjas with terrible hairdos.
Yes, she decides to call the thing a ninja. Right.
Which, I mean, fair,
With one of these panels, we see Betty pick up an axe like off the wall, and then the next panel, while Veronica's changing, we see the Predator start to charge back into the room. As Veronica is saying, "Betty, come on, put that down. I know you think we need to protect ourselves, but you're just going to hurt yourself with that thing." To which Betty is like, "You're right," and she drops the axe, and then the Predator stops. Like the Predator doesn't come attack them. They're having so much fucking fun with this. As soon as someone touches
they do that.
anything,
dude.
anything sharp.
It's so fun. Throughout the entire issue, anytime anybody picks up something that could conceivably used as a weapon, Predator aims at them, and then half the time they drop it and he goes, "Oh, okay," and puts his gun back down. It never stops being funny. I loved it every single time.
So now Veronica is going to tell Betty what her flawless plan is to deal with this ninja who seems to be obsessed with them because they are the two cutest girls in Riverdale, if not the world. Her plan.
This time, for the record, this time she calls him a tragically coiffed ninja stalker.
Right. Her plan is to text all of their friends to meet somewhere safe, like the school gym, and smile and bat their eyelashes at the boys and also the cops. So the next time this tragically coiffed ninja stalker comes for them, they can blow him to smithereens in return for kisses.
And also, while she's giving this speech, neither of them notice that the dagger magically reforms itself behind them while they're talking.
It, like T-1000 style, like almost turns to liquid and reforms into the dagger. So from here, we cut to the school gym, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Go Bulldogs.
That's right.
So we got Archie, Dilton, Chuck, Jughead, Reggie, and Kevin Keller have all shown up at this point. Betty's in the blood-soaked clothes she's been wearing the whole issue, and Veronica's in the white dress. They say they're still missing someone when suddenly Moose and Midge show up dressed up like commandos. Moose has a super soaker. He says he brought his daddy's guns, and they are water guns, apparently.
They are indeed.
Remember, guys, Moose is big and dumb. That's his shtick in this. Kevin is like, and I brought my dad, who is canonically an army general. So Kevin Keller brought an actual, army man, an actual soldier, his father.
And also,
who then brought his quote unquote uncle's guns. But of course he means Uncle Sam because America.
He does.
Just a trunk full of assault rifles for the kids.
That's right. And also, I'd like to point out that during this conversation, throughout this, all of my notes throughout this entire time, I've been referring to one of the characters as guy I don't recognize or dude whose name I don't know or whatever. During this conversation is when I went, oh, that's Kevin Keller. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's the blonde with the middle part. That's Kevin Keller. Yeah.
All right, yeah. I didn't find out until this conversation what that character's name is because nobody ever referred to him by name until right now. And I was like, oh, that's what Kevin looks like. Got it. Okay.
General Keller is like, Betty, show me what you got. Betty shows him the photo and the guy's like, yep, it's a predator. Yep, this is a government secret. We know about these guys.
Yeah, he just immediately recognizes it, and he takes one look and he's like, oh yeah, that's a predator. And everyone's like, huh?
They show up when it gets especially hot, and they hunt people, like sometimes in jungles, like in Predator 1, and sometimes in cities, like in Predator 2, and sometimes commandos, even though that took place on another planet in Predators, but also kind of a reference to The Predator. So it works out. And then also apparently a long time ago, like 500 years ago or whatever, as we'll see in Prey pretty soon here. 100 years ago? 100 years before the first movie, right?
Something like that. Yeah, I think so.
Because 500 years ago was the last Mortal Kombat tournament. So yeah, it's hard to keep track. But yeah, he's like, yep, that's a predator. We know these guys. There are rules. He's like, if you don't have a weapon or don't challenge them directly, they probably won't kill you. But they do have stealth powers and armor, and they're violent. But given the size of this specimen, it appears to be a juvenile. So they are dealing with a teenage predator.
Which, look, okay, I'll admit, I mean, they phrase that as if it's like a good thing, but I gotta admit, man, that really doesn't seem like very much of an advantage to me.
No,
but they frame it like that's a plus for them. I'm like, no, that's still bad.
Well, he may not be as good at killing as like a mature predator, but clearly he's confused he's sticking to the rules so hard, right? That he's that's
the thing. He might not be as practiced or as talented as an adult, but he's also a lot more hormonal and unpredictable,
So he saw Veronica with the butter knife at the beginning, page 1, and he's like, counts as a weapon, gonna kill her. Oh, never mind. Right? He's just too much of a stickler for the rules. He doesn't know how to interpret them the way an adult predator would, right?
Mhm.
But I do like the idea that it's a teen, so it's because we're dealing with a group of teens, they're dealing with a
That's
teenage
right.
predator. It's pretty fun. Like,
Oh, also, I forgot. This is where we find out I was wrong earlier during my intro. I said that the first issue took place in the Caribbean. I was wrong. It took place in Costa Rica
Costa Rica.
specifically.
Okay,
So, and
gotcha.
right here is where we find it out because, Keller was his Kevin's dad, was it?
Yeah.
He was like telling him about the rules, and he's like, they only attack if you're holding a weapon or if you give any kind of like visual obvious like aggression or attack stances or whatever. And he's like, has anyone done anything that it could conceivably construe as violent or aggressive?
Right.
And then this is when Archie's like, oh yeah, remember when Ronnie accidentally broke Betty's nose in Costa Rica? And I was like, oh, that took place in Costa Rica? They didn't even tell us that.
No, I don't think they told us that through the entire first issue. But Cheryl and Jason did say they were yachting in the Caribbean, so
yeah, that's true.
They just didn't get as specific as Costa Rica.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But man, Betty got her nose fixed quick, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Like they forgot all about it.
I will say though, I mean, it was one and done and they were finished and ready to move on.
Yeah.
But like this next part is like weird, and like I don't know what the deal with this is or what it was supposed to mean or whatever, but like after finding out all this information about the predator, they find out that they can't call the cops because all the cops are gone because they're in Greendale because they found a mass grave at Sabrina's house.
Yeah, it's fucking dark, dude.
So like Sabrina's like a serial killer, I guess.
Well, not just her, I think her whole family. I mean, they're witches, right? So like in this universe, in this specific pocket universe where predators exist in Archie comics and Sabrina is like, a sinister goth, they're doing like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina style witchcraft where they are sacrificing people to Satan and things like that in this again, this Archie style looking comic book.
When I read that, I didn't go, oh, this is supposed to be a reference or like remind you of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Right.
When I read that, I thought, oh, is this a Predators reference? Like the movie Predators? Because like one of the guys in that movie was actually a serial killer.
Sure.
And that's why the Predator scooped him up. And I was like, oh, is that why the Predator went after Sabrina? Because he like somehow knew she was a serial killer? Like, is that how that works?
No, he just saw her holding up the Jaguar knife. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the reason. I don't know. I liked this. Just this subtle little nod like, oh, the cops aren't here because when they investigated the attack at Sabrina's house, they found a mass grave. Terrifying.
Yeah, that was real weird. And
Fucking
it was like,
terrifying.
what I don't get me wrong, I thought it was really funny. What I really liked about it was how it was just like tossed offhandedly in like a throwaway line that was never brought up before and is never referenced again. They're just like, also there's a mass grave at Sabrina's house.
Yes.
Anyway, bye.
Which is also a good explainer as to why her aunts aren't getting involved, why they didn't go.
That's true.
Be like, hey, can Hilda and Zelda help us with this curse? Nope, just they're all under arrest now. They're just bodies, just it's like a giant, like under the house. You think in the basement? You think it's like in the backyard?
I mean, I'll admit, I kind of just assumed it was like in their backyard or possibly in their, actually probably more likely in their basement now that I think about it.
It's got to be basement, right? It's got to be.
Yeah, probably.
To find it so easy. Anyway, so General Keller's big plan is to dress one of the lads up as Veronica and send them out on the street as a decoy to attract the predator so the rest of them can gun it down.
And in an extremely classic bit, that person that gets dressed up like her turns out to be Jughead, who missed the entire conversation because he was in the bathroom.
Yes. Veronica's like, how are you going to find a guy who will fit a size 6? Because she's so, into her looks, right?
And then the door swings open and Jughead comes out adjusting his pants and everyone's looking at him and he just goes, What?
So
Again, classic, absolutely fucking classic bit.
Veronica bribes him, saying she'll buy him lunches for the rest of the year or for an entire year, and she's talking like all you can eat buffets, not like skimpy lunches. Because again, that's how you get to Jughead's heart in this universe. His only characteristic is that he likes to eat food.
That's right.
So that's the plan. They're going to put a wig on Jughead and put some ladies' clothes on him and give him the purse and send him outside, while all the teenage boys grab real rifles from General Keller and go out on the streets.
Well, almost all of them. Archie and Dilton stay behind with Betty and Veronica. But
Yes, Archie and Dilton do not
everyone
go.
else. Yeah, everyone else runs off with weapons.
Yes. So we got, and that includes Midge. Okay, so it's Chuck, Kevin, Chuck, General Keller, Moose, and Midge, and Reggie. All of them. They go out to face this thing. Jughead.
Did you say Jughead? Yeah.
Jughead, of course, in the decoy outfit, wearing the blood-covered shirt, just sort of standing out there in high heels. Look like wedges to me, really.
Yeah, I think they were, yeah.
Just saying, what are you waiting for? Kill me. We catch the Predator scoping him out through, infrared vision, looking past Jughead and identifying, like, the boys with the guns behind a car. Yeah. So he blows up the car because he's
I should say,
not an idiot.
I should interject here right now that their plan, if you recall, their actual plan was to lure the Predator out by dressing Jughead up as Veronica. And I should specify, since that was the plan, you can say that the plan did work.
Technically.
Because it did lure the Predator out. They just found out that he was there by he drops a car on 3 people and crushes them and then explodes Midge in half with a rocket.
He blows up the car. We see a little panel of General Keller under some rubble. Half of Midge laying on top of Moose. Her top half of her torso. She's got shrapnel in her head and her chest, and Moose just has this horrified look on his face. And then
she's dead as hell.
And then a car falls on top of all of them. So the car technically fell on 2.5 people. One of which was already
fair enough.
One of which was already dead.
Fair enough. You've got me there.
And before the car lands, General Keller's like, "Give them all you got, boys, now." So Kevin, in tears, opens fire with Chuck and Reggie. Reggie's like filming himself with his phone as he's firing.
Yep, he's sure is
taking selfies or something. We get a really nice shot of the Predator, like leaping kind of through the air, uncloaked and firing back. This is kind of the first, like, it's not the first, but this is the clearest picture we've gotten, certainly in this issue, right?
Yeah, like there was some moderately good shots of like when he attacked Sabrina earlier, but like this one and the cover of the issue are really like the only 2 times we get a real good like full clear full body shot of the Predator in the issue. Yeah,
it's good. It looks surprisingly cool in the Archie style. Like Fernando Ruiz has drawn the hell out of a Predator.
It rules.
And the Predator fires with his shoulder cannon. Let's see. He blasts a hole through Kevin, literally cuts Reggie in half, and then just takes Chuck's leg off, right?
Yep.
So now we get a beautiful scene. You've seen it 100,000 times in action movies with Chuck crawling legless. He's still got one, but he's crawling towards the Predator, right? And he's like, "Hey, your mama said it was your birthday, so I got you a present." Predator lifts him up by the neck, right? Chuck reveals in his hand a grenade he's pulled the pin on. Kaboom. Sacrifices himself trying to take the Predator out with him. Classic action movie scene.
Yep.
You love to see it every time. I was almost sacrificial grenadier Neal, but I wasn't sure that grenadier was the right term. So
I would have accepted it. So
I didn't use it.
Unfortunately, though, it doesn't even work.
Does not work. We see the kaboom. We see the Predator run by, kind of on fire. He's still doing the emojis thing in his vision. We haven't talked much about that, but it's like surprised face, frowny face, running emoji.
Yeah, like it's like the man running, but in the emoji, the man looks like a predator and like has the mask and the dreads
Yeah,
and
he's got
stuff, which I thought was really funny.
that is fun. That's really fun. And he
But
runs past Jughead, who is still
who
alive.
yeah, turns out he's still alive. He crawls out from beneath the wreckage, effectively unharmed entirely.
Sure. Feels something weird in the purse, right? Reaches
Mhm.
in, pulls out the jaguar dagger as we see the predator still like with flames or heat emanating off of it, sneaking up right behind him. To be
And
continued.
yeah, and that's how it ends. That is the final panel is Jughead going, hmm? At the dagger while the predator appears behind him over his shoulder. Phenomenal ending. I loved that final panel so
Yes.
much.
Great cliffhanger. Great issue. Paced perfectly. I'm just going to
Oh
say.
yeah, it ruled. I loved it.
I feel like, I think I said this last time, that I feel like it gets a little rushed in issues 3, primarily issue 4 of this 4-issue series. But so
Mhm.
far, so good on the pacing, in my opinion. We're not wasting
Agreed.
time with stuff that doesn't matter. They're kind of getting to the point right away. Right. They're getting to the predator action,
Oh yeah.
immediately. Page 2, right?
Yeah.
First panel
Yeah,
of page
exactly.
2. Pop's head exploding.
Yeah.
So much gore and violence in this. It's insane.
Yeah, it ruled.
We're no longer in an Archie comic that happens to have a predator in it. We're in a violent world that happens to look like an Archie comic, right?
Yeah, we are in a
Like,
Predator comic where he is fighting the characters from Archie. That's
yeah.
what this is.
Like, it has changed. Like the sinister, like mass grave at the Spellman house, right? Like, this is a violent world. This is like the Archie comics that would take place. You know how they say the Quentin Tarantino universe,
Mhm.
a universe where Hitler was killed, is a more violent universe as a result of
Yeah.
that. Have you heard that fan theory?
I have, yeah.
These are the Archie comics produced in the Quentin Tarantino timeline.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just violent, right? This is itchy and scratchy, you know?
Yeah, dude. I had a great time. This issue was it wasn't the same style of good that the first one was. I liked it just as much, but I liked it for different ways.
Sure.
Because like the part of the reason that I liked the first one so much is because it was such a weird offbeat marriage of the Archie style and the Predator style.
Yeah.
Whereas this was just straight up a Predator comic drawn in the Archie house style, which is not quite the same thing. So I enjoyed it as much, but
Sure.
for different reasons, you know?
But you still got like these subtle little things like Veronica being absolutely terrified that she just saw Sabrina's head get ripped off, but then immediately like going through her clothing and like having a good time,
Yeah.
Jughead like eating the cake anyway.
Which I absolutely loved. That gag was my favorite part of the comic. Like there was that little 4 pages where it was just like the little,
Sure.
like sub side story of like, is he gonna eat the cake? When
Just-
it's like we
yeah.
all knew he was gonna
He's
eat the
gonna eat
cake.
the cake, yeah. And just so stuff like that, and then like just like the hey kids, welcome back from vacation. I baked you a cake, like the beginning. It's still that low stakes sort of. Nothing is permanent. Like nothing means anything. We're just gonna kind of
Mhm.
go for the breezy joke, right? Like Archie thing, except that the
Right.
stakes are very fucking real. People are dying and getting their heads blown off and ripped out, and it's gradually shifting its tone. This one still felt Archie like to me, but this is just a world that looks like it's becoming a world that just looks like Archie, but clearly isn't. I'm still feeling it. We do get another little Archie other Dark Horse property crossover at the end of this. It is
Mm.
Little Mask and his pals. It is Little Archie and the Mask, as in like the Jim Carrey movie. Or sorry, some people probably know the Jamie Kennedy movie more.
I hope not.
I should have led with the Jamie Kennedy movie, Son of the Mask. Apparently, they made a comic book based on that.
That's right.
I don't know much about the Mask comics. Do you?
I mean, I've read a couple issues here and there. Like the main thing I know about it is that the comic is a lot more like grim and violent than the movie was.
Sure.
Like the movie like toned it down and made it more like cartoony and stuff. Like in the movie, the mask makes you wacky. In the comic, the mask makes you insane,
like
which is not quite the same thing, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the American comic book series created by Doug Mahnke and John Arcudi, published by Dark Horse Comics, which is why we're getting the crossover, because they had the Predator license. So we had Hellboy last time. We've got The Mask this time. It is written by Alex DeCampi. It is drawn by an artist named Art Balthazar, who has done, how would you describe this style? It's a real like illustrative children's style, right?
Yeah, it's like a really goofy, stylized. It looks like it's intended to be for like, you know, kids comics or things like that. Yeah, it's really goofy and squat and like big round heads and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sure. He's drawn bright colors, kind of pastel or like vibrant colors. I recognized immediately he's the artist behind Tiny Titans, which was like an ongoing like kids comic book, Teen Titans drawn in this style. They would occasionally print Tiny Titans stuff like in the back of other DC comics on occasion. He also did something in this style for Hellboy called what's it called? Itty Bitty Hellboy or something like that.
Well, he had an entire run called Itty Bitty Comics, where he did multiple comics in this style. He had like a original character named Grimace that was like a skull guy running around in a volcano island. And then he did Itty Bitty Mask, and then he did 2 volumes of Itty Bitty Hellboy.
Sure.
So yeah, I should point out that since Itty Bitty Hellboy and Itty Bitty Mask is like technically a distinct thing, this crossover is specifically with Itty Bitty Mask, not just the Mask in general.
Right.
Because Itty Bitty Mask is actually a comic that they made.
And it's also a crossover with Little Archie, not just Archie, because that is its own separate thing.
That's right.
In fact, there was apparently a Tiny Titans Little Archie crossover that I had no idea, but I'm going to try to get a hold of, honestly.
But yeah, like you said, it's Lil Archie and his pal meet Itty Bitty Mask, but then they change it later on to Lil Mask and his pals or whatever.
Sure.
But like this entire 1-page issue is just Archie puts on the mask, like from the Jim Carrey movie The Mask.
Yep.
That's the entire comic.
Yeah. It's Archie, Betty, Veronica, and Reggie. They are upset that the fireworks show has been canceled. But Archie finds the mask, puts the mask on, then says,
and then shoots a bunch of fireworks out of his crotch.
"It's okay, kiddos. I've got fireworks in my pants." Sorry, he calls them kidderoonies. It's okay.
He does.
Kidderoonies. Launches a bunch of fireworks out of his pants. Right. Reggie like wants to be just like the mask because Reggie's a prankster. I don't know if you know that about him. That's his shtick.
You did mention that in the previous AVP episode. Yeah.
And then I want to say it must be Sabrina because it's got the paler blonde hair and a broom as if she were flying on it. She's just pops out from behind the bushes, whacks Archie on the head, says, "Mask not for you," takes it away from him, and just walks off as Veronica's like, "Where have you been, Archie?" And he's like, "Oh man, they did the fireworks after all." The end.
The end. Yeah, just for the record, I also assumed that was Sabrina because she had like the platinum blonde hair pulled back in like the I don't remember what that thing is called, but like she has like a similar hairstyle to how Sabrina did in Chilling Adventures.
Yeah.
So I did just kind of assume it was Sabrina.
It's Sabrina.
But the character is never actually referred to by name, so who knows, I guess.
Well, it would make sense it's her because it's a magical item too, right? So clearly she's trying to get this out of the hands of the mortals where it can be safe. I don't know much about the mask. I saw the first movie as a child, haven't seen it since.
Yeah, it's I mean I haven't seen it in years and years either. I remember thinking it was like fun, but I haven't seen it since I was probably like, I don't know, 10 or something.
Yeah. But I do like Art Balthazar. Like I like his artwork. I like his style.
Yeah. I like it too. I think it's fun. It's very goofy. I like it a lot.
So this was nice. You know, nothing much to say, but I still want to talk about them every time.
Same.
You know, it is content, baby. Anyway,
Do you have anything else? Because I might have one or two other things still.
I'm good.
Okay. I should say, calling back to the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
The reason your title is the poster child for anemia is because Veronica calls Sabrina that while they're
Yes.
discussing whether they want to go see her or not. So, listeners, that's where the name comes from.
Right. Boy, God, a little late now. Hope that's not offensive. Too late. My apologies if it is.
I also, just like in the previous issue, I absolutely loved the cover for issue 2.
The cover's very good.
It rules so much. It's the bottom half of it is like in the foreground is a predator like crouched hiding underneath like a countertop.
Yeah, it's like the serving counter at Pops.
Yeah, he's like hiding behind the serving counter, and like in the top half of the panel coming in from the background is Archie with Betty on one arm and Veronica on the other.
Yeah.
And they got their big classic Archie grins, and like
Well,
two of them are just looking into the camera, but one of them's like looking around at all the blood all over the room.
Yes. Yep.
And
with the words "back in Riverdale, safe and sound," right?
Also, I'd like to correct myself. Earlier, I said that Jughead said he needed to eat that cake because he has like a note from his doctor saying it's like part of his diet or whatever. I was wrong. He says that the note says that baked goods are part of his coping mechanism, which is why he needed to eat it after finding out they were dead.
He has a major eating disorder, this Jughead.
That's right. The only other real thing I wanted to mention, early on, immediately after Pop Tate's head gets blown up at the beginning, there is not really a smash cut, but there's like a big gap between that panel and the next one. And in that gap, it has the title of this issue, which is To Live and Die in a Small Town,
yes.
Which great name for an issue.
Good title.
And 2, I read that and I was like, yeah, that is a cool title. I don't remember the first one ever having a title, though. So at this point, I went back and checked, and turns out that it did have a title, and I was wrong because I misconstrued the situation in which it was given to us. The title of the first issue is When You Wish Upon a Star, which, if you recall, it shows in big, huge letters on the panel where we see the Predator scout ship dropping.
Yep.
And then in the bottom is like the series of panels where everyone's wishing on the star.
Yes.
But my brain didn't register that that's what was going on in that panel. Like, I didn't realize that To Wish Upon a Star, or When You Wish Upon a Star, they were presenting that because it was like the title of the issue. Like, my brain registered it as like the issue was just, yeah, it was just like giving a visually distinct way for the issue to narratively describe what the characters were doing on that page.
Sure.
Because like going back in the previous page in that issue, everyone points out the star and goes, "Hey, look at that, a shooting star." And then you see the ship land, and then everyone makes their wishes. No one actually says, "Hey, let's wish on that star." So like my brain didn't register that's what they were doing.
Right.
So when it said When You Wish Upon a Star, I thought that was just how the comic book decided to tell us that's what they were doing. I didn't realize until I read in issue 2 when it said To Live and Die in a Small Town. My brain went, oh, that was the title of the first issue. That's why it was there.
Yeah.
I'm a super smart brain genius smart guy.
Well, now you know, right?
Now I know. That's right. I don't think I really have anything else. I gotta say, we kind of blew through this one. We got through this a lot faster than I was expecting us to.
It's a breezy book. I mean, you know, it's
it's like, I mean, it's one of those things where you can say something is happening, and then like 3 pages later, that thing is still happening.
Right.
Like the fight at the end where Predator kills like 5 people or whatever, that's like 5 or 6 pages long, which makes it like almost a quarter of the book. And you're like, yeah, the Predator just kills everyone and drops a car on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there, 2 sentences sums up like 5 pages of the book. Like this one goes by real quick.
Yeah. I did a podcast earlier for MK PodQuest. We're talking about the Malibu Street Fighter comics.
Oh, nice.
Only three issues of whichever were published before Capcom made them pull the plug. And the summary of issue 2 is Ken fights Sagat for 18 pages. So, like, talk about breezy.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
But let's see.
This is a much better comic than that is. This is still.
Oh, it is it?
Yeah.
That was bad.
Oh boy, it's a weird thing. Yeah, you'll hear all about it on a different show.
I was just going to say, I guess we'll find out when the episode of that comes out. The episode of that, which is not this. So
right.
I don't think I really have anything else to say. I think that's about it for me.
Yeah, I think we should get out of here then. Our next episode will be on Prey, the brand new Predator movie. Takes place, I think, 100 years before the first movie, something like that. Coming to Hulu August 5th. We are going to get that out as close to August 5th as possible, but we don't have like press access. We're not getting like screeners or anything, you know?
Yeah, we just have to like watch the movie when we get home from work and then have time to watch it this Friday. Yeah.
We got to watch it like normies. But yeah, that'll be coming at you next, and after that we'll be back on our Alien stuff. Probably it's gonna be kind of wild, I think, going right from Prey into Alien.
Yeah, I think the next Alien franchise thing we're doing is the original movie, 1979's Alien, I believe, will be the next Alien thing we're covering. We're getting to the OG classic, baby.
It's about time. And who knows, we might just do 4 episodes just on that movie. We'll see.
We absolutely could. That's for sure. I mean, I know I could.
Yeah. But for now, Kenny, where can people, Baker of Fine Cakes, Kenny, where can people find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter. My handle is @CYHOBBEZ. As I've mentioned the past couple episodes, I pretty much just am posting, stuff I've been playing, stuff I've been watching. Just, every couple of days, I'm like, hey, here is the movie I've been watching, or hey, here is the game I've been playing. Nice. And yeah, that's about it.
You can find me on Twitter @FinalNeal. That's Neal with an A. I haven't spelled it on this show. And on Instagram @FinalNealRetro. Again, that's Neal with an A. I do another show about Mortal Kombat, TV shows, movies, comic books, etc. You can find that at mkpodquest.com. Kenny, where can people find our show on the internet?
Our Twitter handle is @CrewExpendapod.
Yeah.
Our website is crewexpendable.net. And our Instagram handle is @CrewExpendablePod, all one word.
Yeah. Probably should have just made that match the Twitter, but it's too late now.
It's fine.
Yeah. Subscribe in your podcast app. Follow us on Good Pods. Leave us good reviews anywhere you can. It really helps the show. And tell your friends. Tell all your friends that we're doing Alien and Predator stuff. Mostly Alien stuff. Tell them we're only doing some Predator stuff.
Only occasionally. That's right.
Unless you think like telling them we're doing all Predator stuff will bait them into subscribing, in which case do that.
Just prepare for them to be like, I thought you said it was all Predator stuff. And you're like, shut up.
And we will be back soon to talk about the brand new movie Prey. Until then, stay frosty.